The affordable flagship space is more competitive than ever, with recent entrants from OnePlus and others making headlines in Europe and Asia. And so Huawei's Honor sub-brand, which was already well positioned with its View 20, is back this spring with a new high-end offering, the Honor 20 Pro. It's a device that stays true to the legacy of the earlier mainline Honor phones, while also packing in important spec upgrades to stay ahead of the curve. The hardware design of the Honor 20 Pro is a head-on collision between the View 20 and the Huawei P30 Pro. Around the front, the brand sticks with an all-display screen using an IPS LCD panel and a tiny hole-punch selfie camera. On the rear, there's a hefty triple camera module and a gorgeous new holographic reflective pattern, formed by countless layers of uniquely engineered coloured glass. Tilting the phone through the light conjures up Aurora Borealis-like bolts of colour ranging from deep blue to near pink. The back panel and curved sidewalls are a little slick, but the phone's relatively compact proportions make it easy to hold onto. Unlike the View 20, Honor hasn't managed to fit in a 3.5mm headphone jack here. However, there's a welcome addition on the right edge of the device, a Galaxy S10e style capacitive fingerprint scanner, which really does work flawlessly. I found the display, a 6.26-inch Full HD Plus IPS LCD panel, to be bright and vibrant. Daylight visibility, even under the bright summer sun, has been on par with the majority of OLED-based flagships. The core specs of the Honor 20 Pro mirror those of other high-end Huawei phones. It's running a Kirin 980 processor with up to 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, plus dual SIM support. And although the footprint of the device is pretty small, it's also fairly chunky in order to accommodate an ample 4000 mAh battery. Honor is yet to ship a water-resistant flagship, and unfortunately the 20 Pro is no exception. There's no IP rating, nor is there any seal around the SIM slot. So outside of the occasional rain shower, you'll want to watch this one around water. It also doesn't include stereo audio, though I've been perfectly happy with the output from the bottom firing driver down below. My biggest hardware disappointment in this device, however, is the extremely mushy, horrible feeling haptic motor used by Honor, which feels the same as what I've used in just about every Honor phone from the past year. It's nowhere near as nice as the tight haptic feedback provided by the OnePlus 7 Pro, to the point where I eventually just turned off all haptic feedback on this phone. Turns out there are some things that you still can't do at that lower price point. The Honor 20 Pro runs Android 9 Pie with Honor's Magic UI 2.1 software, which is another way of saying it runs Huawei's EMUI 9.1 software with a slightly different theme. Honor plans for Magic UI and EMUI to become more differentiated in the future, but for the moment they're pretty much the same thing with slightly different visuals. While Magic UI isn't as sleek or attractive as Samsung's One UI or OnePlus's Oxygen OS, it's perfectly serviceable with fast performance and a plentiful feature set. Huawei's full-screen gesture setup allows you to experience what will be coming in Android Q later this year, and there's extensive theming support through the built-in Huawei Themes app, plus some neat preloaded wallpapers to play with the placement of that hole-punch camera. Like EMUI, Magic UI borrows several design elements from Apple's iOS. Honor's own apps are predominantly light and bright, with heavy use of whites and blues, and there are controls near the bottom of the screen and all the built-in apps where they're easy to reach. Magic UI also gives you a great deal of control over apps' battery usage, particularly in the background. Honor's power management is part of what makes its phones consistently great performers in terms of battery life. In the case of the Honor 20 Pro, that really goes hand in hand with a large battery capacity of 4000 mAh. That's the same capacity as the OnePlus 7 Pro, however, Honor's device manages much better battery life from a similar sized cell. Whereas I'd sometimes struggle to get through a full day on the 7 Pro, the Honor 20 Pro never left me with battery anxiety. On heavier days, it wasn't rare to see 6 hours of screen on time with mixed indoor and outdoor use. It's interesting to note that in the areas of software and battery life, the Honor 20 Pro and its major competitor, the OnePlus 7 Pro, are diametrically opposed. With OnePlus, you get a far superior software experience but occasionally sketchy battery life. With Honor, you'll need to learn to live with Magic UI, but in return you will live free from battery anxiety. The Honor 20 Pro sits directly between the Huawei P30 and P30 Pro in terms of both optics and camera performance. As such, this is Honor's most capable camera to date, building on the impressive performance of the View 20. The main sensor from that phone, Sony's IMX586, is also used in the Honor 20 Pro's main camera, only now with optical image stabilization and behind an impressive f1.4 lens. On paper, that's better even than the OnePlus 7 Pro's camera, and the results I've seen show Honor's at least matching the performance of OnePlus's primary camera. The main camera shoots 12-megapixel images as standard, using pixel binning to turn 4 pixels on the sensor into 1 in the finished image. Regardless of lighting conditions, the main camera of the Honor 20 Pro always produced pleasing shots with even exposure, and the optional AI shooting modes add a touch of flair by bringing out the reds in a sunset or amping up saturation in a food picture. Honor's dedicated handheld night mode also impresses, conjuring up usable shots even in extremely dim conditions, though I noticed far more grain in pictures from Honor's night mode compared to OnePlus's Nightscape and other competitors. The 20 Pro complements this with a 16-megapixel f2.2 ultra-wide camera, plus an 8-megapixel f2.4 3x telephoto with OIS, which is capable of hybrid zoom up to 5 times, so basically the same as the Mate 20 Pro in those areas. Both are excellent additions that take Honor's photographic capabilities a level beyond the brand's earlier efforts. The ultra-wide is extremely fun to use and can be used to take some really unique shots in crowded alleyways or open vistas, and the telephoto reaches beyond the 2x cameras of Samsung and Apple to bring out fine detail in faraway subjects or landscapes. At the other end of the spectrum, Honor has a 2-megapixel f2.4 super macro camera lurking above its LED flash. This baffling little camera is frustrating to use and produced consistently poor shots in my time with it. The best you can hope for is so-so looking macro pics that appear grainy even when fully zoomed in on the phone's screen. Outside of that one disappointment though, this is an impressive camera setup and likely the best you'll find at Honor's very competitive price point. It used to be that with affordable flagships, the camera was the one thing that was guaranteed to suck in a phone that wasn't charging top dollar. The Honor 20 Pro is the best argument against that trend that we've seen thus far. Nevertheless, some other compromises do remain. The haptic motor is garbage, the lack of water resistance is also unfortunate. Elsewhere though, Honor's fundamentals are strong with fast performance, a beautiful rear design, particularly the holographic rear pattern, and exceptional battery life. But there is another reason why you may want to skip out on an Honor phone right now, and that's the parent company's ongoing difficulties with the US government. There are very real question marks about future support for Huawei and Honor phones beyond August, and if you decided that with all the uncertainty right now to wait and see on any Huawei or Honor phone, then I certainly couldn't blame you. But if you do take the plunge, you'll find the Honor 20 Pro is one of the best affordable Android flagships of the year so far. Let's just hope the same is true in a few months' time. That's it for now. Check out our written review on AndroidCentral.com and subscribe here on YouTube for all our future coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.